Chintara Japanese History, Episode 3.
Episode 3. The Jomon series continues.
Over 10,000 years of material. We won't run out.
Last time was chill stuff like toilets and pets. What's today?
Today, I thought we'd get into some edgier territory.
Edgier?
Jomon conflict, sex, and the realities of life and death.
Whoa. That got heavy fast. This is supposed to be a sleep video.
The delivery will be as relaxed as always, don't worry. It's just the content that's heavy.
Heavy content delivered casually. Well, that's what this channel is, I guess.
Indeed. Let's begin. Now, as I mentioned in Episode 1, the Jomon period is said to have been relatively peaceful.
Right, less conflict compared to the Yayoi period.
Correct, but peaceful does not mean zero conflict.
Oh, so there was some.
There was, but the scale and frequency were completely different from what came after.
How so?
In the Yayoi period, skeletons with embedded arrowheads appear in large numbers. Evidence of organized group violence. Fortified moated settlements appeared too.
War.
By contrast, Jomon-era skeletons showing signs of violence exist, but they're overwhelmingly rare.
Not zero, but rare.
In Hokkaido, skulls with wounds consistent with stone axe blows have been found. A few cases of arrowheads lodged in bone exist too.
So individual violence existed.
Likely so. Fights and murders probably occurred. But organized settlement versus settlement warfare has barely been confirmed.
Why didn't the Jomon period escalate into war?
That's a big question. There are several theories.
I want to hear them.
First, low population density.
Not many people?
Correct. Japan's total Jomon population at its peak is estimated at only about 260,000.
260,000? Modern Japan has 120 million, so that's less than 1/500th.
Right. So few people across such vast land that settlements rarely came into contact at all.
Your nearest neighbor is kilometers away. Not close enough to fight.
Second, no culture of food stockpiling.
Oh, that's from Episode 1.
Without rice farming level food storage, the motive to take what they have simply didn't arise.
Nothing to steal means no reason to fight.
Simple but fundamental. War, at its core, is a struggle over resources.
That's deep. The more you own, the more you fight over it.
Third, the concept of territory was likely weak.
Territory?
From the Yayoi period onward, "this is our land" became a strong mindset. Rice paddies require fixed land.
Right, you can't move a rice paddy.
But Jomon people were hunter-gatherers. They moved seasonally, sourced food from multiple areas. Some sense of turf probably existed, but nothing like strict borders.
No lines drawn saying, "This side is mine."
More precisely, there was no need to draw such lines.
Not being tied to land is a kind of freedom, honestly.
Freedom, yes, but it also meant no need for the organizations that protect land, namely, states.
No nation.
None. The Jomon period had no countries like the Yayoi era. Only blood-related settlements.
But if conflict wasn't zero, there must have been rules, right? Like, don't go this far.
Good question. Without writing, no laws survive. But some form of internal order must have been maintained.
Unwritten rules?
Presumably, elders likely governed through implicit codes. Those who broke them faced banishment or some sanction.
Like an early version of social ostracism.
Perhaps. Without writing, Oral codes and community rules held enormous power. Now, let's talk about sex.
Oh, here we go.
Last time we discussed visiting marriage, men traveling to women's villages.
Yeah, walking for miles without a dating app.
That was about marriage structure. Today I want to go deeper into Jomon attitudes toward sex itself.
Going deeper.
First, a key premise. The Jomon period likely had very little of what we'd call sexual taboo.
Little taboo?
Correct. One major piece of evidence is, once again, Dogu figurines.
Dogu again.
Many Dogu depict exaggerated female forms. Large breasts, swollen bellies, pronounced hips. They represent pregnant women or symbols of fertility.
Yeah, a lot of them are curvy.
That's not being curvy, it's symbolism of pregnancy and abundance. For Jomon people, conceiving and bearing children was sacred. Not hidden, but worshipped.
Today pregnancy is a private matter, but back then it was holy.
That's the prevailing interpretation. And then there are stone rods, sakibu.
Stone rods?
Literally, rods carved from stone. They are phallic objects.
Oh, I see.
Ranging from 30 centimeters to over 1 meter. Some were erected in settlement plazas or building entrances.
1 meter. That's not a tool, that's a monument.
Exactly, a monument, symbolizing male reproductive power, likely serving as a guardian figure for the settlement.
If you put one of those on a street corner today, someone would call the police.
By modern standards, certainly. But back then it carried an entirely different meaning. Reproduction was directly tied to community survival, the most important act there was.
So, were Jomon people monogamous? Or?
That's actually not clearly known.
It's not?
DNA analysis has found cases where one woman in a settlement bore children from multiple men.
So one woman may have had multiple partners?
Possibly. But whether that was cheating or an accepted social arrangement is unknown.
One of those things you can't judge by today's standards.
Exactly. Monogamy feels natural to us, but human history shows polygyny, polyandry, and many other forms. What the Jomon practiced cannot be stated definitively.
There's no single right answer.
More accurately, the right answer probably wasn't singular. It likely varied by region and era. Over 10,000 years, after all.
With 10,000 years, yeah, there'd be all kinds of arrangements.
Here's another fascinating point. In Jomon-era cemetery sites, men and women were often buried with roughly equal treatment.
Equal?
Grave goods, accessories and tools buried alongside the dead show little difference between male and female burials. This suggests social status may not have differed greatly by gender.
Gender equality? In the Jomon period?
Not equality, in the modern sense, but likely quite different from the strong male-dominated society that followed in the Yayoi period.
So when rice farming started and heavy labor increased, men became dominant. Something like that.
That's one leading hypothesis. Agriculture bred warfare and power structures tended to center on men. The Jomon period lacked that, so gender relations may have been more balanced.
You know, the Jomon period's reputation keeps going up with every episode.
As I keep saying, don't underestimate it. Finally, let's talk about life and death.
Yeah.
The average lifespan of Jomon people is estimated at roughly 30 years.
30. I'd already be long dead.
However, that's an average. Infant mortality was extremely high, which drags the average down.
Lots of children died?
Yes, Nearly half of all children born are thought to have died before age 5.
Half.
Infections, malnutrition, injuries. Without modern medicine, even a small wound could be fatal.
And yet they kept having children.
They had to, or the settlement would die out. A woman is estimated to have borne 5 to 7 children in her lifetime. Less than half survived to adulthood.
That's a harsh reality.
Harsh indeed, but it was reality. On the other hand, those who survived past 5 often lived into their 40s or 50s.
Oh, that's longer than I expected.
Skeletons estimated to be over 60 have been found. So, Jomon people died at 30 is misleading. Survived childhood, and you could live quite long.
The first 5 years of life were the ultimate hard mode.
Precisely.
But living in a world where half your children died, what did that do to people mentally?
That, even I cannot answer. But when you look at Jomon burial sites, children were buried with great care.
Great care?
Equal to or even more careful than adult burials. Small pottery placed alongside them. Some buried beneath the entrance of dwellings.
Beneath the entrance?
By burying a child beneath the doorway, the place you pass through every day, they could always remain close. That's the prevailing interpretation.
That's heartbreaking.
Because death was so close, they treasured life all the more. The fact that so many Dogu depict pregnant women reflects an intense prayer for new life.
It connects back to the sex discussion. Childbirth was sacred because life was that precious.
Exactly. Everything is connected. And so, episode 3 was about the life and death of Jomon people.
This one was a bit heavy.
To summarize, the Jomon era saw little warfare, was open about sexuality, and understood the weight of life.
Peaceful, honest about life and death, relatively gender balanced. Maybe it was a more mature society than we thought.
Perhaps now you can see why it lasted over 10,000 years.
Yeah, they didn't fight, they shared, they valued life. That's why it endured.
Though we shouldn't over-idealize it, either. It was undeniably a harsh era. Next time, I think we'll finally move on to the Yayoi period.
For real this time?
For real. How rice cultivation changed Japan.
Haniwa's era is finally getting closer.
Well, we'll ramble on again next time. Listen at your leisure.
Today's topic was heavy, so a lot of people are probably asleep already.
There's a theory that heavy topics help you sleep better.
No, there isn't. Good night.
Good night.